This podcast is sponsored by AXA Farm Insurance. AXA offers tailored cover to fit your unique needs, whether it's public liability or protection for your family home, outbuildings or farm vehicles. Based in Athlone, the AXA Farm team of agri-specialists and regional managers work together to ensure you receive the seamless support you need. Switching to AXA is easy thanks to an innovative online service that enables you to quickly and easily find the best cover for your needs. For more information, head to AXA.ie. AXA Insurance DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to the Farming Week, the podcast brought to you by Agriland and AXA, keeping you up to date with all the latest in Irish agriculture. I'm Charles O'Donnell and I'm joined by Agriland journalist Aisling O'Brien and Agriland beef specialist Breifne O'Brien. Well, we hope you're enjoying the mostly decent spell of weather at present, despite the odd shower. The Tullamore Show certainly struck it lucky this year weather-wise, with the event on Sunday seeing great conditions, and we'll be talking about the Tullamore Show in just a moment. But we're going to start with the main news of the week so far, which is the opening of the 2025 Beef Welfare Scheme, which Minister Hayden opened this week. Breifne, can you take us through the key details?
Yeah, so Charles, the new suckler scheme known as the 2025 Beef Welfare Scheme opened for applications yesterday. That was Wednesday, August the 13th. The scheme is much more straightforward than schemes like the Suckler Carbon Efficiency Programme or the SCEP. The Beef Welfare Scheme is a 1-year scheme as opposed to the SCEP, which is obviously a 5-year scheme. So to avail of the maximum payment in the Beef Welfare Scheme of €75 per calf up to a maximum of 45 eligible calves, farmers must complete 3 actions. So the actions and rates of payment are as follows. So action 1 is meal feeding. Now that's a mandatory action for farmers who opt to sign up for the scheme, and that will be paid at a rate of €35 per eligible calf. Action 2 is an optional action, and it involves vaccination of calves, and there's a payment rate of €15 per eligible calf. And action 3, farmers can either fecal test or forage test, and this is obviously an optional action as well, with a payment rate of €25 per calf. So the maximum amount of money that can be drawn down from the scheme is €3,375, and that's of course where a farmer avails of all the actions up to the maximum number of 45 eligible calves. Farmers who want to find out any more details on the scheme can of course check out the Agriland app.
Well, we mentioned the Tullamore Show in the intro, and Breifne, you were there on behalf of Agriland last Sunday. Can you give us a flavour of some of the highlights of the day?
Yeah, Charles. So the 2025 Tullamore Show and FBD National Livestock Show took place on the 250-acre Butterfield Estate in Blue Ball, County Offaly on Sunday, August 10th. So thankfully, the sunshine and dry weather prevailed for the event, which seen huge crowds travel the event from all over Ireland and further afield. In the cattle section, the Parade of Champions brought the day's proceedings to a close, and a full report of all the winners in both the dairy and beef cattle sections can be found on the Agriland website. So look, from machinery to homewares and poultry, as well as everything else in between, there was a great display at the event of all that rural Ireland has to offer, and the event really brings out the best in people, from the large crowds that attended to the stewards who helped out, and of course the exhibitors. One of the many attractions to the annual show is the invention section, which usually attracts an interesting range of exhibits. The idea that took home the red rosette at the show on Sunday was from Tralee, County Roscommon man Anthony Lyons. His multi-purpose transport box sits neatly on a bale lifter and can be secured to the bale lifter with a similar range of movements to a conventional transport box. So the invention, which can sit onto either a single or double bale lifter, drew significant interest from the farmers in attendance at the event. And of course, it was a great day out for all the family.
Thanks for that, Breifne. We'll move on now and bring you an update on the Agri-Climate Rural Environment Scheme, particularly the process of filling out scorecards on farmland. Aisling, what's the latest here?
Yes, Charles. So at the start of June, the Department of Agriculture issued 125,000 acres scorecards. Now, scorecards are used in both the acres general and cooperation approaches, and they help to determine what payment farmers receive under the results-based scheme. Now, according to the latest update from the department, some 76,322 or 61% of that total of 125,000 scorecards have been returned returned to the department since last Friday, August 8th. Now, the department has reminded farmers and their advisors that scorecards have to be submitted by August 31st to allow for advance payments to be made in November. So definitely a date to keep in your diary if you are one of the farmers who's participating in acres in either approach, and to make sure that it's just 2 weeks away now, really, the end of August. I can't believe I'm saying that, the year is flying. So definitely make sure to get that scorecard in by the 31st of August. Now, the department has also said that the application window for non-productive investments, of course, that's under the Acres CP approach, that's currently open. And so far, 80 claims have been submitted for 2023 and 22 have been made for 2024. And the application window for landscape actions also remains open. And of course, the NPIs and landscape actions allow farmers in Acres CP an opportunity to improve the environmental outcomes on their farms, and also in turn increase their payments and the available payments under the scheme as well. And look, as we're speaking about acres, Charles, we can't leave the subject without mentioning the issue of payments. And the latest update from the department has confirmed now that 96% of all acres participants are now fully paid for their participation in the scheme in 2023 and in 2024. So by the 8th of August, a total of over €515 million had been paid to acres farmers, and the total paid for participation in 2023 was just shy of €249 million paid out to 44,406 farmers, or over 99% of all acres tranche 1 participants. Now, we learned that a total of 234 farmers have yet to receive their final payments for 2023, and the department noted that 37 of those farmers have already received an interim payment of either €4,000 or €5,000 respectively, and in many cases that may cover the full amount owed to them. Now, the total 2024 advance payments now stands at almost €227 million paid to 52,832 farmers, or almost 98% of all acres participants, and advance payments in respect of participating in the scheme last year still have to be made to just over 1,000 acres participants. It's 1,082. And of that total, 234 are still awaiting their balancing payment for 2023, as that has to be paid, of course, before the advance payment can be issued. So the balancing payments in respect of participation in the scheme last year, they began back in mid-May, and the most recent payment run saw another 71 farmers get a total of just over €50,000. And this brought the total paid in balancing payments for last year to over €39 million to 51,773 participants. And the department, of course, said that outstanding payments are going to continue to be made on a weekly basis once contracts are cleared for payment. And look, if you are one of those farmers who is awaiting a payment still, Charles, I suppose the reminder there as well is if there is any outstanding documents that the department are waiting for, try and get that in as soon as possible. But of course, the department working on its side as well to resolve those well-documented issues with the acres payments.
And just while we're on the issue of schemes, the Forgotten Farmer Scheme, officially called the Scheme to Support Long-Established Young Farmers, closed for applications yesterday on Wednesday, with the department confirming the number of applications, Aisling.
Yes. So just to remind people about who the Forgotten Farmers are. So they're a group of farmers who are defined as being under the age of 40 in 2015. They had commenced in agriculture before 2008, did not receive young farmer installation aid, and were not eligible for young farmer supports under the Common Agricultural Policy from 2015 due to the date that they had first set up in agriculture. That's the official I suppose, definition for what the Forgotten Farmer group entails, essentially. So in the last budget, in budget 2025, the Department of Agriculture was allocated some €5 million to provide support to this group of farmers. And what we did learn some weeks back when the department announced this scheme is that applicants could avail of a payment of up to €5,000, which would depend on application numbers. Now, as you said, the online applications closed yesterday, and the Department of Agriculture has confirmed to Agriland that it received 1,200 254 applications by the deadline. So the resulting application numbers essentially mean that with that overall budget of €5 million, the average payment to farmers is likely to be in or around about €4,000. And of the total 1,254 farmers that applied, the highest number of applications came from Cork with 176, followed by Galway with 91 and Donegal on 80. And the lowest number of applications came from Louth, Dublin and Kildare. And there were only 3 counties actually where the application figures were in single digits. And you can see a full county by county breakdown on our website and app as well. Now, the department did previously say, Charles, about this scheme that a successful application to the scheme will not confer an automatic entitlement to a payment because of the state aid rules, essentially, which this scheme does fall under. So the department will be running some cross checks on all of the applications that have been made to ensure that the total state aid payments to an individual in the past 3 years do not exceed the €50,000 state aid limit, which is, of course, under EU rules. So that cannot be exceeded if the payment is to be made under this scheme. And look, I suppose the scheme has been broadly welcomed as, a way of compensating farmers for losing out where they did nothing wrong, essentially, to lose out, Charles. But I think the criteria and the eligibility criteria is something that was a bone of contention for farm organisations and for some politicians as well. And, there was calls as well for the €5 million to be topped up, to be increased. So we'll have to see if there's any further funding made available to this group when we see Budget 2026 in a couple of weeks' time. But as things stand, 1,254 farmers applying for the Forgotten Farmers scheme.
We're going to spend some time now on the processing sectors, starting with meat processing. Don Meats has confirmed that it is looking to take on a majority stake in a New Zealand-based meat processor. Can you tell us more about this, Aisling?
Yes, so Alliance, Charles, is New Zealand's largest processor and exporter of sheep meat, and it's a key producer of pasture-fed premium beef with its produce exported to over 65 countries, and it's owned by around 4,300 shareholders, and it operates 6 processing plants across New Zealand. Now, as we well know, Dawn Meats, very familiar to many of the listeners of the podcast, established in Waterford in 1980. And that has grown into a business with over €3 billion in annual revenue, employing over 8,000 people across 10 countries. It trades as Glanbia in the UK and Dawn Meats here in Ireland. And the combined businesses process around 1 million cattle and 3.5 million sheep annually. So as you said on Tuesday morning, big news, agribusiness news this week, Dawn Meats announced that it has been selected by the board of Alliance Group as the preferred long-term strategic partner of the company. And the proposed partnership, it is subject now to shareholder approval. It would see Dawn Meats invest $250 million New Zealand dollars to acquire 65% of the shares in Alliance Group. Now, farmer shareholders in Alliance Group have been informed of the board's preferred and unanimously recommended option, and they will have their say in a couple of weeks in a vote. The transaction is also subject to the New Zealand High Court and regulatory approvals as well, rubber stamping this. So if approved, the proceeds from the proposed transaction would be used to reduce Alliance Group's short-term working capital facility by 200 million New Zealand dollars to accelerate the board's strategic capital expenditure program and to enable the distribution of up to 40 million New Zealand dollars to the Alliance Cooperative, and that's subject to shareholder livestock supply. Now, the chief executive of Dawn Meats, Niall Brown, was commenting on the proposed deal this week, and he said, as the largest retail packer of New Zealand lamb in the UK, Dawn Meats is familiar with the high standards of the country's grass-fed meat industry and its produce. They said that they've worked closely with Alliance for many years in that regard, and they admire the exceptional quality of their world-class grass-fed lamb, beef and venison. And he also added that having the ability to grow in partnership with some of New Zealand's leading farmers and to create a year-round supply for Dawn customers between the northern and southern hemispheres is an opportunity the company takes very seriously. Now, Mark Wynne is the Alliance Group chair, and he said the announcement comes after a 2-year process to reset and recapitalise that business. He said that they need this investment to provide certainty and confidence and to ultimately unlock more value for their farmers as well. And he said this is a critical point where the business needs to evolve, but their commitment to farmers remains the same. And they believe that Dawn Meat's offer stands to secure and strengthen Alliance's future as well. So as I said, there is going to be a vote on this, Charles, and the proposed deal will require a minimum of 75% shareholder acceptance of those who have a vote, and greater than 50% of all shareholding voting a yes at a special general meeting to be held in New Zealand in mid-October. So it'll be interesting to see if the shareholders, I suppose, go along with the recommendation of the board, but a very significant deal on the table there for Dawn Meats and for the Alliance Group in New Zealand as well. And definitely watch this space for sure.
We'll stay with agribusiness for now and switch over to dairy processing. Glanbia plc has announced its half-year financial results as well as other important business updates as well, Aisling.
Yes, Charles. So Glanbia said it delivered a resilient financial and operating performance in the 6-month period ended July 5th of this year. Now, group revenue was $1.93 billion, which is up 6% on the same period last year. Group EBITDA, which is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization, was $241 million, which is down 7.5%. And group pre-exceptional profit after tax was $132 million, down just over 13%. Now, the board of Glanbia recommended an interim dividend of €17.20 per share, which is up 10% on the same time last year, and that interim dividend in 2024. And on the back of these financial results, the group has raised its full year earnings guidance as well. Now, Glanbia Chief Executive Hugh Maguire said that the results reflected a first half of significant execution and progress as it generated 6% revenue growth, underpinned by strong growth in its health and nutrition and dairy nutrition divisions, and an improvement as well for its performance nutrition division as well. And the company also announced a deal to acquire Sweet Mix, which is a Brazilian-based nutritional premix and ingredients solutions business, which it said will allow continued growth in the Latin America region. And as part of their announcement this week, Glanbia also confirmed a new chairperson is going to take over from the outgoing Donard Gaynor from next year. And that will be independent non-executive director Paul Duffy, who's going to succeed Gaynor as chair of the board next year. Gaynor will formally retire on December 31st. Now, Duffy has been a director of Glanbia since March 1st of 2021, and he has significant global business experience in the consumer sector. He's a member of the company's nomination and governance and remuneration committees, as well as chair of the audit committee. And he's the former chairperson and chief executive officer of Pernod Ricard in North America, which of course is a well-known wine and spirits company as well out there, Charles. So some changes at the top in Glanbia as part of those financial results as well.
Just as we're talking about the dairy sector, we've seen our first milk price announcement for July, with Lakeland Dairies opting to reduce its price by 1 cent per litre for last month, down to 48.25 cent per litre. For suppliers in Northern Ireland, the price was also reduced by 1 pence per litre. And of course, stay tuned to Agriland for all the upcoming milk price announcements from the various processors. But moving on now, and those concerned with Ireland's biodiversity, especially its bee population, got a bit of a fright this week, Aisling. Can you tell us more?
Yes, absolutely. Because anybody like me, I'm a big fan of the bees, maybe not so much of wasps, Charles. And this guy, he's a pretty ferocious looking insect, the Asian hornet. He was spotted in County Cork recently. We got confirmation this week. Now, the Asian hornet was introduced accidentally to France in 2004, and it's since spread throughout much of Western Europe. It was reported in Ireland for the first time in April 2021 in Dublin. And as I said, this week, the National Parks and Wildlife Service has confirmed a recent sighting and the subsequent capture of an Asian hornet in the County Cork area. Now, the sighting was reported to the National Biodiversity Data Centre's website by an eagle-eyed member of the public, and a photograph was included which allowed for confirmation of the species and of the sighting of the species. So this is all very significant, Charles, because the Asian hornet poses a significant threat to biodiversity, as you said, in Ireland, because even a single nest can devastate honeybee populations. This hornet, it's an aggressive predator of insects, especially honeybees and other pollinators. And if it manages to get into a beehive, it can wipe out all of the bees living in there. So it is quite a serious threat to our native pollinators and to the honeybee hive sector as well. So the sighting has triggered a government-led response with the establishment of a new task force. So the Asian Hornet Management Group is going to be chaired by the NPWS. It includes the Department of Agriculture, the National Biodiversity Data Centre and the National Museum of Ireland as well. And this group is going to coordinate efforts, gather further information and monitor the situation over the coming weeks. And just in relation to this sighting down in Cork, a survey team was deployed to the area after we got confirmation of this sighting, and there was extensive monitoring and surveying carried out. Now, there was no evidence of a hornet nest or any hornet activity initially observed, but then there was subsequent surveillance which led to the trapping of an Asian hornet on August 12th. So the monitoring is going to continue over the coming weeks to determine if this is just one individual or if there is evidence of a larger population. And the survey team has engaged with businesses, local communities and stakeholders in the area to raise awareness on how to identify the Asian hornet, and beekeeping associations have been briefed as well. And we're told they're obviously playing their part because they've a lot of interest in this and making sure that any sort of spread of this insect is prevented as well. And look, I suppose, Charles, if you are, kind of eagle-eyed like that member of the public, this hornet, it's between 2.5 and 3 centimeters long, dark antennae, a long orange face. I don't know if you want to get that close to it though, but a really distinctive feature is its legs. They're very, very yellow at the ends. They're a bright yellow. So that maybe differentiates them from other types of insects that may look somewhat similar to the untrained eye. And if you suspect that you have seen an Asian hornet, you can contact the National Biodiversity Data Centre, but don't attempt to obviously disturb the insect or to capture it, because they may sting if they are provoked as well. So you just for your own safety, but just if you can maybe get a photo of it or something like that, and to alert the authorities. And this new task force obviously being set up, which shows the significance of this sighting of this particularly aggressive predator of other insects, and particularly our bees. So yes, the Asian hornet, an unwelcome summer visitor in 2025.
Finally this week, it's that time of year again. The annual Rose of Tralee Festival is due to kick off this weekend, and with so much participants, there is always some roses and escorts with a farming background. And that holds true this year as well, Aisling.
Yeah, it really does, Charles. And you know that summer is drawing to a close when, Tullamore Show, Puck Fair, and of course the Rose of Tralee rolls around, and we see a lot more back to school ads coming on the television and on the radio as well. So yeah, as you said, the Rose of Tralee, it kicks off this weekend, and this year's Rose of Tralee will be crowned on next Tuesday night. And I suppose, love it or loathe it, Charles, it still draws a huge amount of attention every year. Over 500,000 people tuned in last year to watch Keely O'Grady from New Zealand be named the 2024 Rose of Tralee. And look, as you said, in previous years, the world of farming and agriculture is well represented amongst the roses and the rose escorts. And we have featured some of their stories on Agriland in the build-up to this year's festival, including Wexford Rose Cleana O'Leary. She lives on a dairy farm in the village of Boulavogue. And the 26-year-old is currently in her third year at Southeast Technological University in Wexford, where she's studying for a Bachelor of Science in Sustainable Farm Management and Agribusiness. And also Laois Rose Caitlin Cummins. She grew up on a farm, and she believes that growing up on a farm is an experience that every child should have, when she was speaking to our colleague Caroline recently as well. And she's actually a second-year apprentice electrician, Charles. So she has maybe moved away from farming, but many farmers out there always need an electrician. So I'm sure she won't be short of work when she's fully qualified. And we also spoke to Joe Hennessy. Joe is from Knockcarron in County Limerick, and he's among the Rose Escorts who have close ties to farming this year. He runs a dairy calf to beef system, and he's an agricultural advisor as well, but BMJ Consultants down in County Cork. So we wish all of them all the best, whether they have farming connections or not, and I hope they enjoy their time here in the kingdom as well, Charles, over the next few days. Lots of excitement around my neck of the woods, definitely at this time of the year always.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Just before we go, we just want to wish good luck to Paul Little. The man who was crowned Ireland's fittest farmer at last year's National Ploughing Championships is currently in the middle of a 230-kilometre swim along the River Shannon. He started in Dowra, County Cavan last Sunday and is hoping to finish up in Limerick City next Sunday. The swim is in aid of Northwest Stop, a suicide prevention charity. A very worthy cause indeed, so best of luck to Paul, and you can check out our article about the charity effort on our website and app. But that's where we'll leave it. Please don't forget to rate, review and follow The Farming Week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. We'd love if you could spare some time to give us 5 stars and share The Farming Week with anyone you think might be interested. From Aisling, Breifne and myself, take care.
This podcast is sponsored by AXA Farm Insurance. AXA offers tailored cover to fit your unique needs, whether it's public liability or protection for your family home, outbuildings or farm vehicles. Based in Athlone, the AXA Farm team of agri-specialists and regional managers work together to ensure you receive the seamless support you need. Switching to AXA is easy thanks to an innovative online service that enables you to quickly and easily find the best cover for your needs. For more information, head to AXA.ie. AXA Insurance Stack is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.